we're going to unpack the absolute secret behind an unbreakable level of discipline. I'm talking about a level of focus that makes people look at you with genuine awe, and honestly, maybe even a little bit of fear. We're going to break down exactly how you can rewire your brain to stop quitting and start executing with total mechanical precision, all by using a system that has literally survived for centuries. So let me ask you this. Have you ever observed that one person who just never fails? You know exactly the type I'm talking about. They wake up at the exact same time every single day, they do the exact same things, and they just never stop. While most people are giving up on their shiny new habits by the third week, this rare breed just keeps showing up. While everyone else is making excuses, they execute. And people look at them and whisper, man, there is no way that's normal. But what if I told you that being abnormal in this specific way is actually a highly structured, totally repeatable process? Well, turns out there is an ancient system created by Zen monks in Japan that produces exactly this kind of frightening consistency. And I promise you, once you understand how this framework actually operates, you'll never break a goal again. But there's a catch here. This system isn't for everyone. It requires you to essentially kill a part of yourself, specifically the part of you that you probably never even knew existed, the part that just loves to negotiate. Okay, let's dive into this by contrasting the trap most of us fall into with the mindset we actually want. Take this guy, Raphael. He's a smart, successful programmer, but he literally could not stick to a habit for more than 2 weeks. He was stuck in this completely relatable, totally normal loop, total motivation on Monday, his very first internal mental negotiation on Wednesday, and absolute complete surrender by Friday. He tried apps, he tried habit trackers, accountability partners, the whole shebang. Nothing worked. Why? Because he was fighting the very architecture of his own brain. Now contrast that with unbreakable, continuous practice. This is the scary consistency we are aiming for today. And to get there, Raphael had to look at how Zen monks actually operate. And that brings us to a truly incredible concept, Gyoji. Translated, it basically means continuous practice without gaps. Think about the gravity of that phrase for a second, without gaps. At the Ida Temple in Japan, a bell rings at exactly 3:30 a.m. And since the year 1200 AD, every single day the monks wake up. Not 3:25, not 3:35, exactly 3:30 a.m. No monk is ever lying in bed thinking, maybe I'll just hit snooze today. That question simply doesn't exist in their reality. And the reason why is utterly fascinating. So what's going on under the hood here? It's all about how your brain categorizes commitments into one of two boxes, reversible or irreversible. Reversible commitments are those little private promises we make to ourselves in the mirror, right? And they instantly become mental negotiations. Well, I'll try to work out today. But irreversible commitments, those just happen. When a monk takes his vows in front of his entire community, he isn't making a promise to try to meditate. He is fundamentally changing his identity. The community witnesses it, the identity cements itself, and the negotiation completely ends. So how did Raphael actually put this into practice? Well, he basically went nuclear and stopped making private reversible promises. Instead, he followed 3 bold execution steps. First, he physically wrote a declaration on paper. I am a person who meditates 20 minutes every day at 5 a.m. for 90 consecutive days. Second, he signed it and posted it publicly on social media. He told literally everyone. His girlfriend told him he was being way too dramatic. His coworkers laughed and said he was trying too hard. But that was exactly the point. Every single person he knew became fuel. Because when he wanted to quit, he faced step 3, the survival threat of having to look everyone in the eye and admit he was just another guy who couldn't deliver. And look, this isn't just some hyped-up motivational trick. It is literally hardwired into our biology. According to research from Harvard neuroscientists, making a behavior public triggers your primitive brain. Think about our ancestors. Losing status in the tribe literally meant death. Your brain still processes social failure the exact same way today. The public declaration made the pain of giving up far, far greater than the pain of just waking up early. But of course, your biology is still going to fight back. Raphael still had to fight a body that desperately wanted to sleep. That's when he implemented the monk's second principle, eliminating the variables. You see, every day you waste precious mental energy just asking yourself, when am I going to do this? Morning? Night? Deciding when to do something actually burns up the glucose in your brain that should be used for the practice itself. So Raphael locked down 5 a.m. Not because he was some huge fan of the sunrise, but because at 5 a.m. the world is asleep. No emails, no distractions, 0 excuses. It wasn't about optimizing his schedule, it was entirely about eliminating the option to negotiate. Let's actually track this timeline, because the internal war here is fascinating. That first week, pure hell. On day 3, his mind ran its usual routine. You're exhausted, man, one day isn't gonna matter. But that deep fear of public failure kept him moving. By week 2, his body realized, okay, this isn't a drill, and actually started waking up 2 minutes before the alarm. By day 14, when that alarm rang, his feet hit the floor before his conscious mind even engaged. No thought, just movement. But day 35 brought a massive new challenge. He still had one critical flaw in his system. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the fix for that last critical flaw. Raphael realized he had locked down the when, but he was still constantly changing the what. Some mornings he'd read, some mornings he'd do burpees. His brain had found a brand new loophole to negotiate. Enter the highly controversial teaching of the Zen master Dogen, variety actually kills consistency. Every single time you change your routine, your brain has to make a micro decision. And every small decision is a crack where your old, lazy patterns leak right back in. So Raphael locked down an exact routine, 20 push-ups, 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of reading, in the exact same order every single day. His friends called him robotic, but being robotic was the entire point. And this kind of robotic repetition, that's where the magic actually happens. MIT research shows that when you repeat an action in the exact same context over and over, a specific part of your brain called the basal ganglia takes over. Consistency isn't about having unbreakable willpower forever. It's about repeating an action until willpower is no longer biologically required. Your body learns the sequence the exact same way a dancer learns choreography. You are no longer deciding to do it. You are simply doing it. So what is the magic number to get there? How long does this biological rewiring actually take? Researchers have pointed at 66. It takes approximately 66 days of identical, uninterrupted practice for a behavior to become entirely, effortlessly automatic. But getting to day 66 means you have to survive the days where absolutely everything goes wrong. So the crucial point here is understanding the trap of the all or nothing lie. It's this toxic belief that if you can't do your full 20-minute absolutely perfect workout, you just shouldn't do anything at all. This mindset creates gaps. And remember, gaps are exactly where your old self crawls back in. Contrast this with the Zen concept of Gyoji, practice without gaps, imperfect continuity. Think of it like a river. A river doesn't just stop flowing during a drought, right? It might become a tiny trickle, but it never stops, because the moment it stops, it's just a memory of a river. Your practice has to operate the exact same way. Let me paint a picture of what this imperfect continuity actually looks like in the real world. On day 40, Raphael had to travel for work. He was standing in the airport at 4 a.m. Old Raphael would have definitely called this a travel day and skipped his habit. New Raphael, he did his 20 push-ups in the airport bathroom. He meditated in the back of his Uber. He did his reading on the plane. Now, was it a perfect, serene, aesthetic morning routine? Absolutely not. But it maintained the momentum toward his goal. He kept the gap closed. But even if you have perfect momentum, life is going to throw things at you that you just can't plan for. Welcome to the final boss of consistency, unexpected obstacles. Your kid gets sick, your car breaks down, your boss keeps you late at the office. These are consistency killers because they force you to make decisions under immense stress. And listen, when you are stressed and exhausted, your brain will absolutely choose the path of least resistance every single time. You will fail if you try to fight a battle you haven't prepared for. And this brilliantly illustrates the Zen monastery approach to chaos. They don't make decisions when the meditation hall floods, they just automatically go to the dining hall. The response is pre-decided. Raphael mapped out every single obstacle that had ever derailed him in the past and created a pre-solved action plan. If it rains, I'm in the garage. Guest hangover, silent workout in the bathroom. Hungover, the absolute bare minimum trickle of the habit. Every disaster had a pre-solved action. When X happens, I do Y. No thinking, no negotiating, just pure execution. Once again, ancient wisdom perfectly aligns with modern science here. Behavioral psychologists at Yale note that pre-deciding your actions completely removes decision fatigue from critical moments of stress. Your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for willpower, doesn't have to burn out trying to solve the problem in real time. The answer is already written down. It just has to execute. Your brain knows that no matter what kind of chaos tomorrow brings, the practice is going to continue. Mapping out the end of Raphael's 90-day journey, his own personal ungore period, you see some wild milestones. By week 6, he was literally halfway through his push-ups before he even fully realized he was awake. By day 70, he was a programmed machine. And by day 90, he hadn't just built a new habit, he had built an entirely unbreakable identity. When his friends started telling him his consistency was getting kind of scary, he knew he had won. Because true consistency isn't just about doing something every day, it's about fundamentally becoming someone who cannot do it any other way. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. What will your public declaration be? What specific habit are you going to implement using the Gyoji system? Remember, this isn't just about trying to be a little bit more disciplined this week. This is about the death of your inconsistent, constantly negotiating self and the birth of your unbreakable self. Because the kind of consistency that actually scares others, that is the only consistency worth having.